Good morning, I'm Chef Michelle Bernstein. It's National Soup Month, and far be it from me to go against the nation, so that's why I've got some super soup recipes for you today, here on SoFlo Taste. Come and get it.
How fun is that?
Good morning, all. I'm Chef Michelle Bernstein in the Goya Kitchen at Junior Achievement of South Florida and Coconut Creek, and welcome to SoFlo Taste. The calendar tells us it's soup season. In fact, January is National Soup Month. 31 days where soup steps out of the chorus line and into the spotlight. So today I thought it would be fun to give you some of my best recipes for some of my best soups. So let's get cooking. All right. We're going to start out with one of my personal favorites. It's a simple carrot miso soup, and it has some ginger and onions and garlic. Let's just jump into it. From my voice, as you can tell, I could probably use some soup right now. So let's go ahead and make it. Not too high of a heat, because we don't want the carrots to burn, which they will quickly. We're going to add a little bit of olive oil, which I usually don't start by cooking soups in olive oil, but for this one, I love the flavor of just a good everyday simple olive oil, nothing fancy, but I also combine it with some sesame oil. We're going to jump right in, adding in the carrots, and then we're also going to start adding the aromatics. These are just some simple yellow onions, cut really nice and small. I've got a little ginger that I went ahead and peeled, and rather than having to cut it, which can be a little, I think, frustrating for a lot of people, we just went ahead and microplaned it. And then finally, just some chopped up minced garlic. Now, I've used here a very light colored miso. It's actually called white miso. Any lighter color miso will do. And if you only have a darker color miso, it's going to be perfectly fine. It's just for something this delicate. The darker the miso, the stronger the flavor. Kind of with anything, actually. So with a delicate color of miso like this one, you're just going to add what I love, which is umami. That sixth sense. That flavor that you get way kind of back on the sides of your palate. It is just the most delicious, savory, delicious flavor. It kind of rounds out the palate. And so that's what miso does to this soup. Even if you're not a miso lover, trust me, add it in. It adds like this brininess that you can't get from anywhere else. So this soup can be vegan, but it can also be vegetarian, and it can be none of the above. You can use chicken stock, or you can use vegetable stock, or you can even use dashi if you happen to have some around, which is that delicious seaweed stock with a little bonito flake. So the way that I would make the soup, only because I love chicken stock so much, is I would actually add chicken stock. Today, we have veggie, but at home, because I'm not vegetarian, I make this with chicken stock. And speaking of chicken stock, make sure you visit my friends over at Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market, because you'll see that they have every kind of protein for your soup stock. They're located at the corner of 441 and Sterling. Just go to DelawareChicken.com or call them at 954-983-6831. Or just go, take it all in. They are amazing, and they had everything. Just go, talk to them. They can make your food even better. Make sure you tell them Michelle sent you, though. All right, so we're pretty soft here. I'm going to go ahead and add stock. So this is vegetable stock. You can use broth. Again, like I said, you can make it your own way. So I really want it to add enough broth just to cover up to about a quarter of an inch to a half an inch above the carrots is all I'm looking for. And what we're just going to do is we're going to cover it, we're going to let it go. Now, if you want, you can finish it with heavy cream. Later on, we'll add the heavy cream to make it even thicker and creamier. But again, it's totally up to you if you want to do that or not. Come right back, because I've got more bowls of delicious for you and a guest with an invitation for you. See you in a minute.
Come back to SoFlo Taste from the Goya Kitchen at Junior Achievement of South Florida. Chef Michelle is just getting started here on Local 10.
Welcome back to SoFlo Taste. I'm here at Junior Achievement of South Florida and Coconut Creek, a wonderful place for our children. But you don't have to hear from me because our guest today is Christine Battles. Come on in, Christine. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful.
You do a lot for JA World, and so first I wanted to thank you.
This is very exciting. I love to cook.
Great. Now I'm about to jump into a mushroom soup. Some of the mushrooms will be pureed, some won't. But for added flavor, I've actually brought some gorgeous dried porcini mushrooms and soaked them in a little bit of chicken broth. Just getting the porcinis to get nice and tender as they are. We're just going to strain them with a strainer right here. I'm going to use that chicken stock to make the mushroom soup, and then I'm going to chop up some of those mushrooms and throw it in. So I'm just going to start cooking, and I'd love you to tell us a little bit about Uncorked.
I heard about Uncorked when I received an invitation in the mail one day in 2017. I didn't even know what Junior Achievement was. So I saw this.
I'm adding onions and garlic. So my pot with a little butter. Go for it.
So I saw this mission statement about Circle of Wise Women. And so my girlfriend and I went to this event called Uncorked. We drove up right here at Junior Achievement. Almost 1,000 people and the most amazing restaurants. And the Circle of Wise Women is all about advocating and supporting Junior Achievement's missions.
And we're huge fans of Junior Achievement. Do you want to just give just a little quick summary of what Junior Achievement does and what it does for the kids?
Well, first of all, Junior Achievement is absolutely amazing. It's a facility that brings in students in 5th and 8th grade. In 5th grade, they come for BizTown, which are 5th graders. They get to see what their parents do, writing checks, how to balance a checkbook. In 8th grade, they come back. They're learning financial literacy, career paths.
Tell me a little bit about Uncorked. So I know a lot of restaurants come.
We could not do this event without the restaurants.
Right.
Some of our longtime partners, Burlock Coast at the Ritz, Chef Paula.
Yep.
We also have Eddie's V's, and everybody knows Eddie V's. Capitol Grill's a mainstay as well. One of my favorites is Cafe Vico.
Okay.
Chef Marco, my husband and I go there often. We've got Canyon and Yacht. And Yacht is at Lauderdale Marine Center. And so those are the longtime partners.
Okay, JA Uncorked. Tickets are at jsouthflorida.org/JA World Uncorked. Or you can always call them, get your tickets just by phone. Call them at 954-979-7120. Just so you know what I'm doing, in here I have shiitakes and creminis. I'm going to add a little bit of the porcinis, just a little bit, because we're going to top it with some of these later. And what we're doing here is I just want to make sure that all of that delicious moisture and liquid that is in the mushroom, we want it to come out, because that's how you get a really good texture of mushroom. And as you all can see, I started with a dry pot, and I don't know if you can tell, all that liquid is coming out of the mushroom. There you go. That's all that good stuff. It's delicious, but we want it to evaporate because that's the only way to get the right texture out of a mushroom. You'll never get the proper texture until all that comes out. So once it does, what we're going to do is we're going to take some of the mushrooms out of it, because these are going to be the ones that you're going to eat while you drink your soup. So let's take a few out. I'm also going to chop up some porcinis. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of flour and make a roux out of everything that's in here. I'm going to mix this roux up. I'm going to chop some tarragon and thyme. You tell me about some new restaurants that are coming this year to Uncorked, because I can't wait to hear about that.
Well, some of the new restaurants that we have that are new to town is La Via Bar and Grill. It's actually downtown Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
And then there's a new place called Val and Tino.
Okay.
So very excited about those two restaurants coming on.
All right, so I'm going to throw the herbs in here. I can't wait to come to Uncorked. It sounds like a pretty incredible event.
It's amazing.
Do y'all expect that huge crowd again this year?
Well, I've been coming since 2018, and I
Okay.
would say every year it's sold out.
Real quick, before we run away, I'm going to add a little bit of dry marsala. Don't add sweet. We're not making sabayon here. We're making soup. Dry marsala goes in. I'm going to let that render out. So as everybody can see, I've dried out not only the mushrooms, but also the marsala is dried up. This has become a nice, thick, creamy kind of a roux. I'm going to add a little bit of this mushroom broth.
It smells delicious.
Thank you. I think I'm going to turn you into a mushroom lover. I've done it before. I'm not afraid. Okay, Christine, before you go, I would love to hear a little bit more about what happens at the event.
Uncorked is an event like no other. There's 2 live DJs. There's a 10-piece band.
Oh my goodness.
The decor is out.
So there's dancing, there's eating, there's everything.
And a live auction.
Perfect.
And the auction items are incredible. It's an event you certainly don't want to miss.
No, you don't. So everybody, we will see you here on January 27th, right? For JA Circle of Wise Women's, JA Uncorked. I can't wait to see you. Christine Battles, thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
I hope for you to taste my mushroom soup one of these days. I'm gonna add a little bit of heavy cream. I'll see you all in a minute, but we can maybe puree some soups together and start one of my favorites and a favorite of my incredible husband, tortilla soup. See you in a minute.
Ooh, excellent. Thank you. Smells great.
I'm design expert Elena Capra, and after Michelle, join me for SoFlo Home Project here on Local 10.
We'll see what's cooking on SoFlo Taste right after this.
Welcome back to SoFlo Taste. As you should know by now, all my recipes are available on the SoFlo Show's webpage. There it is, the quick response code. Scan it, you'll go to the fabulous SoFlo's page. You'll also see this QRC on the ingredient list throughout the show. Now back to my soup. Okay, everybody, we have a lot going on, so I'm gonna start a new one and then we're gonna finish the other 2 that we started before. I'm gonna heat this up a little bit. You know what? I'm going to heat up a little bit of cream for the carrot soup as well. You don't have to add cream to my soups. They're delicious without it, but I like it in there. So I'm heating a little cream for the carrot soup. We're going to start out the tortilla soup, one of my absolute favorites. We're going to start out with a little bit of oil and a little bit of butter. Now that everything in here is hot, the butter's starting to melt, we're going to add some onions, some minced garlic. Once the onions are a little bit soft, we're going to start adding all of the amazing spices that I have here and chilies. We'll get into that in a second. The cream is warming. I'm going to add the puree. So I pureed the soup. Remember the carrots and ginger and garlic and onion? That's what this is. I'm going to add that in to some warming cream. And I'm going to take the miso. Remember we talked about miso. Miso is fermented soybean, okay? Just so you know. I'm going to be whisking that into the soup. Now this is when you can decide whether you want the soup to be thick as it is, or should we maybe add a little bit of liquid to it to thin it out a little bit. You can also taste it with the miso, decide, have I added enough miso or does it need a little bit more? I think the soup needs just a tiny little bit more, touch of cream. And I'm going to add some salt and pepper to it. There we go. That's the texture I like in the soup. Some salt and pepper, because the miso is salty, but it still needs a little bit of salt and pepper to add more flavor. So this is how I like to garnish this soup. Let's go ahead and mix it a little and get some into this gorgeous bowl. Now because it does have the miso and the sesame, to me it makes it a little on the kind of a little bit of a nod to Asia. So I have some furikake, which is a topping for rice. You can get at any good Asian market, which has, as you can see, some flakes of nori in it. You can add a little sesame to it, and you can add some chopped up chives. Just to make it even more interesting, I think it's very appealing. So let's keep now going on our tortilla soup. We're gonna start adding tortillas, which I have here, some chopped up fresh tortillas, just to add a little viscosity to the soup, but not much. And we're not gonna add a heavy cream to this at all. Let's go ahead and add some spices to the soup. So I have chile de árbol. I have dried ground chipotle. I have ancho chili. I have smoked paprika, some cumin, and finally, one of my favorite chilies that doesn't have a lot of heat, a lot of flavor in it, is a smoked guajillo. We're gonna add a bay leaf, and we're gonna add some canned chopped tomatoes to this. I love adding cilantro stems, so we're gonna go ahead and add some cilantro stems to the soup, and we're gonna be adding the tops later. And finally, either veggie or chicken stock. As we let this simmer, we're gonna move over and finish up our mushroom soup. This gorgeous mushroom soup can be served as is, or we can puree it a little bit. So I brought it on a stick blender. Remember, I've got toppings of some sauteed mushrooms that I pulled out earlier, that I added some chopped porcinis that we had soaked. So we have the pureed mushroom inside the soup, allowing it to thicken. Remember, we have a little bit of that roux making it creamy, but then we also have the chopped mushroom for the top. I love garnishes on soups, like it's one of my favorite things. It turns it into a true meal. So what we're gonna do here, we're gonna first serve our gorgeous soup. Look at it, it's so pretty. And make it dramatic. Serve it into, like a white bowl like this so you could really see all the colors. Nothing too dark because it'll take away from all the stuff you're putting into it now. So there's our beautiful puree. We're gonna add some chopped mushrooms, and I don't chop them too fine because again, turning this into a meal. I've got some buttery croutons, took some old bread, toasted it with a little bit of butter, threw it in the oven. I've got a little bit of Parmesan cheese. I always happen to have at home. I'm gonna steal some of those chives from the carrots. I saved some of the parsley, we'll put that on top. And then I love a little bit of lemon zest because I think it makes everything brighter. So now we have a meal made out of these two beautiful soups. They can be vegan, they can be vegetarian, or neither. Come right back so we can find out how this gorgeous tortilla soup turns out together.
SoFlo Taste will return right after this.
Welcome back to SoFlo Taste and our show all about soups. So I think our tortilla soup has pretty much cooked long enough. I'm going to shut it off and blend it. Now remember, I have tortillas here that will make it a little creamy. Cilantro stems, add earthiness. If you don't want it to be spicy, I suggest you remove the chipotle powder because it has quite a bit of strength to it. But what I love about what I'm seeing, it is thinner than the thickened tortilla soups, but it has a little bit of creaminess because of that tortilla. And now I'm sure, thanks to the tortilla, it has a beautiful tortilla flavor. So let's go ahead and add some tortillas to the bottom of the bowl. Ladle in some of this beautiful soup. And look at that texture. The texture to me is just perfect. That's what I was hoping for. And then let's top it off with a few more tortillas for the top. And then I've added a little bit of crema mexicana, which is basically kind of like sour cream. If you add a little milk to it, it becomes a little more liquid. So just for a little garnish. And again, if you're vegan or vegetarian, you can make this soup 100% using vegetable broth and not adding the crema. A little bit of fresh cilantro, some big old salt on the top, and there you have it. The soup's a wonderful thing, warming, diverse, comforting, versatile, and even healthy. Try any or all of these recipes during this National Soup Month. Now, join me next week for some snack hacks. I'll be making lobster rolls, sheet pan nachos, yummy spring rolls. So be here for the snacking on the next SoFlo Taste. Time to check in with design expert Elena Capra, host of SoFlo Home Project. Morning, Elena. What have you got coming up for us?
Did you know that bedrooms are the most used rooms in a home, but often the last to get decorated? Today on SoFlo Home Project, we tour some amazing suites, hoping to inspire you to create the room of your dreams.
Okay, Elena, we'll be watching your bedroom makeover. Can't wait. I want to thank Christine Battles for joining me today. And remember, the JA Uncorked next Saturday here at Junior Achievement of South Florida. For tickets and information, visit jasouthflorida.org or call, of course, 954-979-7120. So taste buds again. Thanks for watching. I'll see y'all next week. Goodbye and very good taste. You make me so happy.